board. Um, since it's just me and you, Angie, I'd love to hear from you just where you're calling from, what brings you to our circle today, or hopes that you have. I can also start too, since it's just me and you, but I'm calling from North Hollywood, California. And then what brings me to our circle and hopes for our space today? I have benefited from similar circles such as this. One, just being a direct recipient of developing capacity coaching, who is putting this space on, and just really seeing the transformative power of how coaching has really impacted me as an individual in my personal and professional life. So much so that I birthed my own baby through Amalu coaching, and just seeing the power of how community and coming together as APITA leaders and in APITA community, the power of that, especially during this month. Um, I feel really blessed to be on the other side of that and be able to facilitate similar dialogues and spaces just like this. So that's what brings me here today. And my hope is that you feel like this is a space where you can really just pause and unwind and refill your cup, just understanding that there's a lot of, like you said, back-to-back meetings that you have outside of this space. And so I hope that this is just a chance for you to just press pause in all of that and really pour back into you. So how about
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, I'm calling in from Irvine, California. And, you know, I do have a leadership type of position in my professional life. Well, to be honest, we're leaders in our family life and in our relationships as well, And I've gained a lot of tools from all the classes that I've learned about communication and self-discovery, self-compassion, self-love, all those things. And really just sometimes knowing those things and applying it are two different ball games. And I'm just hoping to maybe gain some insight or some opportunities that I can actually apply this better, um, for myself and also for the people that are involved in my life.
Love it. So practicality. Amen.
Mhm.
Okay. So we like to start off with just a solidarity acknowledgement of understanding that there's a lot going on globally, right? And so we're just taking a few moments to just stand in solidarity with our global family for the end of the pain, the suffering of all forms of oppression and domination. As we'll share, developing capacity coaching is really about diversity, equity, and inclusion and belonging spaces. And so we believe that this solidarity is the path forward for dismantling the interlocking systems of oppression that harms the people and our planet. So we're empathetic with our brothers and sisters on their community specific quests for liberation. And our hopes are to build a multi-sector, a multi-generational, and an intersectional global movement for healing, freedom, and justice inside of all that is happening in the world. And so our norms for our space today, we call Conscious People for Equity Journey. Here are a few norms that we have, and I would love to invite you, if there are others that you would like to add to our space, to really create what we like to call a brave space right here. Being graceful with ourselves and others, right? We come in from the stance of learning versus judging in any situation that we may have. Oftentimes, what I've noticed speaking with folks, especially leaders, is that we tend to be the hardest on ourselves. And we tend to be we can come in with that stance of judgment. But instead of that, we like to invite people to think about, instead of judgment, what are you learning from a space? What are you learning about yourself? What are you learning about situations that are happening within your family, within your workplace, within XYZ thing, right? In order to be a more effective leader and also honor yourself and the people around you. Thinking possibilities, accepting and expecting non-closure. This is right now we have another 20 minutes of this space. So just expecting that, we may open the conversation and come up with some really great and tangible strategies. And as you mentioned, hopefully being able to apply those practically and really coming up with structures and routines for ourselves on how to integrate and implement this on a daily basis so that we can continue to refill our cups and be better for ourselves and the people around us. We like to say that intention doesn't override impact, accepting responsibility. and just the difference between intention and impact and owning up to that. And then lastly, confidentiality of, as I mentioned, once we actually talk about the two questions, anything that's said in this space is going to stay here. But I like to say that what's said here stays here, but what's learned leaves the space. So just know that this is a completely confidential space. Okay. And then a quote to ground ourselves in our healing circle is from Audre Lorde. And she says that caring for myself is not self-indulgence, it's self-preservation. And that is an act of political warfare. So something I like to connect, I connect a lot with this statement, understanding that, I'm a sister, I am a professional, serving clients, I am all of these different hats outside of this space, right? And so oftentimes I may put myself on the back burner or last, but actually I've recognized that we treat others how we treat ourselves, right? And so when we self-preserve and we actually create intentional spaces to care for ourselves better, that allows us to better show up from our highest version of selves to every single, all of the other folks that we are serving. Okay, so I am going to dive into our questions and actually pause our recording. Okay, so I'm going to read out our questions first, and then once I pause the recording, we'll have a chance to just dialogue amongst us too. So our first question is, how am I currently using my power to unapologetically own my identity, brilliance, and expertise? And then the second question is, what's the next best practical step to honor my humanity daily? So let me go ahead and click pause recording. And thank you so much for just your perspective and just participating today and showing up and creating time to pour back into you. I did want to share a little bit about developing capacity coaching and mission, vision, and what they do. So the mission of DCC, Developing Capacity Coaching, is they expand the capacity of leaders to do good. And I'll say we, because I am actually a coach with them as well. So we expand the capacity of leaders to do good, fostering a more compassionate, equitable, just society. Our vision is for all people, regardless of background, thriving freely throughout this planet. And we do that in 4 ways of developing purpose-driven leaders. So we transform your personal leadership, we build team capacity, we shift organizational culture and really look at all structures within an organization, all the way down to team structure and even one-on-one. And then we also leverage data-informed decision-making. So even in our assessments, we support folks to ensure that we are practicing that outcomes for conscious leadership and diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I wanted to be mindful because I know you had a separate meeting. Is it okay if we take 1 or 2 more quick minutes?
Um, yeah, we can.
Okay, I'll be very quick. So I'll just say with our blueprints over here, our pillars are really rooted in our core values of equity, love, healing, and justice. And we focus on these 3 areas of capacity building within an organization, coaching leaders, individually, and again, structurally, and then being data informed. And then lastly, next steps. We invite you to explore more at the website, so developcapacity.com. And if you're interested in bringing healing circles to your organization, here is contact information for myself as well. And so I end with actually I want to end us out with Vincent Chin's story, which is Lily Chin and the Courage to Speak Out. So are you familiar by chance with Vincent Chin and Lily Chin? So I'll just be very brief here, but Vincent Chin was a Chinese American he was beaten to death in Detroit by 2 white men who blamed him for the city's problems. So despite being found guilty, they only got probation and a fine, which was sparking outrage. So Vincent's mother is Lily Chin. She was an immigrant who worked hard in restaurants and factories. She bravely stood up against this injustice at community gatherings and rallies, inspiring many Asian Americans to fight against hate crimes and demand equal justice. This was in the 80s. So although Lily didn't see justice for her son, her courage and activism, they've left a lasting impact on our APITA community, showing us the power of standing up for what's right. So I invite us, like Lily Chin, We can honor her bravery by continuing her fight for justice and equality. And so as we leave this circle, I invite us to stand up against injustice in our communities, support one another, and use our voices to make a difference. And together, we can create a future where all OPEDA leaders and everyone are treated with the dignity and the respect that we deserve.
Amen for that.
All right.
Yes.